So, a couple of nights ago, I went to see Attack on Titan: The Final Attack in, actually, 4DX. So, I'm going to give my review of the film and see if this was just a waste of time, or, like the ending, a timeless masterpiece that I won't forget. It's going to be pretty hard to do that at this point, in my opinion, but I'm game for anything. Here is my review for The Final Attack. And my, really, honestly, my my experience seeing it at 4DX. Oh boy. Let's get this video to 250 likes, and hey, 10 new subs on the video. If we can do that, then I won't cry, I guess, and I'll do more Attack on Titan videos. Don't you guys want that? Don't you? For those of us who are unaware, Attack on Titan: The Final Attack was advertised as a compilation of the final 2 episodes of Attack on Titan, Final Season Part 3 and Final Season Part 4, which were the big 1-hour episodes. Well, this film has Mappa returning to the big screen one final time to give us new and up-to-date animation, brand new scenes, and a remastered soundtrack specifically meant for the theater experience. It does feature cut content, some 15 to 20 minutes of stuff, which we will talk about because that was a lie. But once again, this film added newly animated stuff never before seen by anyone. But was this a colossal waste of time, or were the rumblings of this being great actually true? Let's jump into the actual movie experience first, and what it was like. Well, it was pretty incredible. I had never before seen a 4DX movie, and really, I don't know what it was until I arrived to see the film in person, which is probably not a good thing if you're gonna go see 4DX. Essentially, it's like a theme park ride where as you're watching the screen, your chair will move around, it'll rumble, squirt water at you, phrasing, and air behind your head, and features a lot of smoke. And let me tell you, this film had a ton of that. At first, I actually did not like this, but that was mostly just during the 800 advertisements for whatever the new Marvel schlock was, which was actually physically nauseating. But once the film started, I'm not gonna lie, this was an incredible way to experience the film. You could feel every rumble, every single moment the ODM gear was used. I was whipped around, and while at times it was a little much and took something away, I was usually always immediately immersed right back into the experience fairly quickly. So, generally speaking, if I were to give it a letter grade, I don't know, B+, A-, only because I would never go see another film in 4DX. I can tell you right now, this tech is awesome, but it feels like it was made for only this kind of film and no other. No way I'm picking up 4DX ever again. But one of the things I really liked was the use of smoke. I think theater should do that more outside of 4DX. That is how much I loved it. Whenever we saw the rumbling, there was always smoke filling the room, and it added so much to the experience, and I really did feel like I was in Marley. Why? Because you could smell the smoke, and it just, I don't know, it just did something really great for this film in particular. Especially at the end when the smoke transforms all of what is left of the Resistance into pure Titans. That was an absolutely incredible moment inside of the theater. Was it worth the nearly $100 I spent to see this? Actually, yes. Would I do it again? Actually, no. But at least for this film, it added to the experience. And honestly, it made it highly memorable, and I loved it. As for the newly remastered audio, this was incredible. When they were on the boat, I could hear seagulls behind me and water below me, or when there were voices in the background, I was so impressed I turned around to see who was talking, only to find out it was characters in the film itself. It also was unlike anything I've seen in anime films either. Mostly, the audio is either very sharp, tinny, or just grating for some reason, at least in my experiences. Every single film did this, besides Look Back and this film. They've either all had subpar audio that hurt my ears after a while, or were just grating. Not with this one. Everything on the audio side was balanced really well. I thought it also added to the performances because of the natural reverb in the room. Namely, Armin's performance stole the show like it did when the episodes first aired, but really, there is something to say about Armin's performance here. That wailing and screaming his VA does just, I don't know, man, it added a layer of realism that the streaming version just did not have. It felt organic and at times sort of hard to listen to. I also thought the music was way better than on VOD. The use of some old Attack on Titan music from Season 1 as an example just had so much more emotional impact because you could feel the music hitting you, and so when the final fight came around, I was just blown away. I truly felt I was living through a biblical moment where the stars aligned. That's how much I felt the audio improved. I would say just for the audio improvements alone, this film is the way to watch the final episodes of the series. I'm never going back to anything but this release with this audio specifically to watch it. No way. I just cannot go back because it makes everything work even better than it did already. Before, I think I gave the final episode like a 10 out of 10, I called it a masterpiece, and now I think I gotta give it an 11 out of 10. I truly do stress. This is no glazing, or at the very least, take my words on the audio to heart. If anything, this audio remaster should have been what we saw in the original release. So let's move on to some of the new animation. Not the new scenes that were added, which, let me tell you, I cannot wait to get to that. We'll talk about that later. What I am explicitly talking about is what was redone or touched up from the original to this film. What I can say is that everything generally looks better in my eyes. Maybe that is because of the higher bitrate and the fact it's presented at like 10K resolution or whatever it is. Maybe it is that. Maybe it's even more. Maybe it was the 40X. I don't know. However, most of the focus seems to have gone to the action sequences and very heavily Part 4. And beyond that, I would say everything is just better on the big screen when it comes to this film. Something about this in theaters just made so much sense, and I'm glad they did this. But as for the newly remastered animation stuff, I think we're probably going to have to wait for an official release on this one, just because it was hard to tell with all the smoke and everything, and I generally think they just messed with some in-between frames to make some things smoother, honestly. So, let's talk about the new scenes, or rather the new scene. This film stated they would be cutting about 15 to 20 minutes of material, but they actually ended up not going with that, and the episodes are 1-to-1 what they originally were aired with in 2023. However, after the post-credit sequence, there is a brand new original short that arguably once again should have been in the original release. So, spoilers ahead as I generally give my reactions to the new scene after the credits, so if you don't want to know anything about it, time to click off now. Alright, hope you clicked off. Basically, they adapted the bonus chapter Attack on Titan School Cast, which is a satirical take on AOT's characters with them being presented in high school and just regular Japanese citizens. To me, this was an incredible moment and cemented the final attack as one of the best experiences I have ever had in a theater. Essentially, Mikasa, Armin, and Eren go to see Attack on Titan, The Final Attack. After the film is over, Mikasa and Armin get into a heated debate over theories and how the ending made no sense and was bad. This actually got a big laugh in our theater, so I'm glad one of them didn't yell out that Eren was a cuck and Mikasa was just a simp. Well, during their argument, which has them yelling at each other, they both ask Eren, who was quiet about his opinions. What's his take, right? Well, he basically just says that he thought it was really good, and he hopes that there is a sequel, and that if it does get one, he will come to the theater with Armin and Mikasa to see it again. And you have no idea how this moment sucked the air out of the building. In one fell swoop, all of the bickering and arguing actually united us. Hajime Isayama actually did something I thought he would never do, which is heal the Attack on Titan fandom. Eren himself, the guy all of this arguing was built around, just viewed that bickering as that. Bickering. And saw it as a way that a story could bring people together than it being about a story that tears people apart. It is the best way to end this series and finally put to rest all of the debates about the ending. At that moment, when I sat there, I'm sure I was experiencing the same thing as everyone else, as for the first time in my life, I heard every single person in my theater getting up off of their feet and clapping, which I have audio of that I'll play right now. Not during the credits, mind you. This is during and at the end of the post-credits scene. I'm pretty sure this was the first time I think life clicked for just a moment and I realized something. So I went to my Notepad app and I wrote my opinions about this final scene and more specifically what Eren said as I was walking out of the theater and on the way home. So if you by chance want to see a full video expanding upon this and more analyzing that bonus scene, please drop a comment and like the video and of course get the subs up. So here are my thoughts as I was just typing them out on my Notepad. It's a lot. Despite our disagreements as a fandom, from Aaron's perspective, who isn't in these forums and deep discussions, is seeing this as a moment to be happy about. That no matter what we disagree about, it all comes from the love of this story and joined experience. We, as a fandom in AOT, were lucky enough to be a part of what is likely the greatest emotions, the most memorable and unforgettable moments, the moments which made us cry, made us hate each other, even if you probably shouldn't have called that dude a fascist, and maybe you just probably shouldn't be a fascist. It is that dynamic that makes us want to respond and lash out in anger and vitriol. It is that feeling that makes us want to get up every day and just do it again. Because no matter what, at the end of the day, from someone's perspective, they're just happy to be here and witness it all. This one single moment, this one shot on a rock in the middle of nothing where no amount of riches, people, art, objects, emotions, love, hate, and body aches mean nothing at the end. But what does is the moment to capture it and realize that right here, right now, are the better days. These are the days that we will look back on with our formerly goth, nerdy, or Christian friend and say we experienced that together. And why did we do any of it? Because it is that emotion that is somewhere between love and hate. Because after all, as my good friend tells me, the opposite of love is not hate, it is indifference. Then it all clicked in my head in that moment, sitting there in a smoky theater, wet, with a sore back from the gimmicky 40X. The reason we do any of this is because we love ourselves so much that we would rather destroy everything, even ourselves, to make sure that we don't end ourselves. Isn't that so stupid and contradictory? We make no sense. None of us do. Because at the end of the day, humans are just garden variety idiots. We're all pathetic losers who want Mommy Mikasa. We're all just creepy jocks that want their mothers to love us. We are all just one girl who never quite got her shot. We are all just some people who want to talk it out. We are all fighting tooth and nail to do the right thing in spite of what has been thrust upon us to just try and answer the moment. And we sure as well are all people who feel they belong to a great purpose in the hopes that finally the problem to society itself will be solved. We are all in this together, on one big rock in one hell of a cold existence, but we weather it together, brothers in arms. We share together in an extremely statistically unlikely instance that is over as soon as it began, called existence. So if there is one thing you take away from anything I have ever said, no matter if you loved me, thought my voice was cool or hot, no matter if you hated me and tried your hardest to make me hate myself, I am at peace with it all. Because for this one moment in my life, I am not stupid enough to just disregard all of that and throw it all away and see that whoever the freak you are, the 60-year-old grandmother, the 33-year-old plumber, I don't know. I don't know who you are, but whoever you are, thank you for experiencing this with me. This amazing and beautiful series and this unforgettable life outside of it. Thank you for helping me realize something I never have. That I love our life, and I will fight to protect that. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I felt after seeing that scene, and I don't know how I can top what I wrote that night there, but here are my final thoughts. I now understand what this series means to me. It made me aware of my own existence in the context of my value as a human being. It also made me aware of you watching right now and the value you bring to the world and to myself. I am now at peace with every single hate comment thrown at me. I forgive everyone in this fandom for the ways that they have acted because you and I think we deserve second chances. So when you're ready, let's come back together again, whether it is a sequel, a prequel, or reruns, or new content. Let's get back together. Let's laugh and play, argue, bicker, theorize, debate. Let's just do it all over again and again and again, because I don't think I'll ever forget you, and you probably will never forget me. For this 10-year stretch in time, I think we made each other happy. We also ended up making each other sad or depressed. And sometimes you just made our day. This right here, they may not get it. And I say they as the people who just listen to this and they don't understand. But to me, the last 10 years and Attack on Titan in general, they were real. Our love for the series was and still is genuine. All of us. And I won't forget this, and I hope you do not either. Oh, and for those still a little angry, I have something to tell you. You can't always get it all just because there's space in your life. This is no social crisis. This is you having fun. I definitely think seeing the final attack in theaters was one of my top 5 moments in my life. Really do, honestly. So that's my thoughts on the film, the final verdict. I think it's great, and I think you should go see it if you ever have the chance to. It's awesome, and especially do it in 4DX if you can. Thanks for watching. See you in the next Attack on Titan video, which is coming out very soon. Bye-bye.